right, guys, welcome back to another video. So as we know, the Xbox showcase followed by the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 showcase is just around the corner on June 9th. And there have been plenty of teases leading up to the upcoming Call of Duty game. It's a pretty exciting theme, I think. I like Black Ops, and apparently this game is taking place in the Gulf War. It does say here it was an event-filled Sunday. Black Ops 6 this weekend as a new round of teasers for the game, courtesy of Noah J456. During the live stream, played a video from Activision, which played a new teaser for Black Ops 6, confirming the setting to be the Gulf War. Spotted by some eagle-eye fans, the teaser also contained what appears to be our first glimpse at Black Ops 6 gameplay. It's really only 1 second. You can kind of see it here on the screen. Some characters running through, shooting their weapons, and then sliding as well. I mean, obviously, these are all things that are going to be within the game. For Call of Duty Black Ops, really wouldn't have expected anything different. I mean, Gulf War, it's going to be boots on the ground. They aren't going to have any of the exosuits and the flying around that we did see in previous games at Call of Duty and in the previous Black Ops as well. So that's the setting for it. I mean, it looks very cool, just from thinking about what they're going to be able to do with the Gulf War time frame and everything. I think it could be a really awesome campaign. I hope that they do have some expansion on the campaign versus what they had with Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 kind of kicked off some more open world style or open setting style of campaign missions where you can go and take on your objectives any way that you want to. And I found it was fun to play, but it was just seemingly somewhat of a filler for certain levels. And I hope they kind of just expand on it more. They have something there. They just have to flesh it out and give us a more in-depth campaign story-wise and gameplay-wise, where how you take on the missions, the open world objectives you go through just kind of mean more. I think they can do it, especially with the setting, and that's kind of the rumors that they have been going for, or we've been hearing about, that the campaign will be improved in that sense. So I'm pretty excited about that. But obviously, majority of people are most excited here for the multiplayer and how that is going to feel. Right now, Modern Warfare 3 is fun. They've had a good couple of years here with Call of Duty multiplayer. So Black Ops 6, with the huge fans that they do have for the Black Ops series, they're going to have to live up to it and give us something good. And we are going to see this on, again, June 9th. And it's going to be more than likely a day one Xbox Game Pass game. So although Call of Duty sells extremely well every single year, no matter what, it will sell very well this year too. But I think we're going to have a larger player base on day one this time, just because of the fact that it is within Xbox Game Pass. So exciting times, and we'll continue to follow it as we get more information here for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I'm guessing it's going to end up be calling it Call of Duty Gulf War. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk about a pretty interesting announcement. And if you are on the Xbox platform, this is one of those games that Square Enix is now making sure is coming onto that platform. And that is Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. It has been teased for the first time in 3 years. It says the publisher initially confirmed this back in May 2021. It was working on 5 new Dragon Quest games, including a remake of Dragon Quest III in its HD 2D. But since then, we haven't seen anything on the game until now. It's not gameplay or anything, but it is a tease that they are still making this game and it is coming. They marked today or yesterday as Dragon Quest Day, and Square Enix posted a teaser video on the official Dragon Quest account on X, suggesting that more information was coming. You can see it here. The Legend of Erdrick draws near, and then you can see the logo just kind of being drawn out here. And then just a little teaser about the Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. And what you see here at the bottom, the platforms: Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Steam and Windows. So multi-platform release, and as we know with Square Enix, they are going fully now to multi-platform. They're straying away from signing console exclusivity deals, as with their Final Fantasy games. Their big ones that they recently released with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 16. They said that it just didn't meet the expectations, and I think one of the major reasons is because they were locked to the PlayStation console. If they would have released both of those games, even just on PC day and date, they would have done far better. If they would have released them on Xbox day and date, they would have had far better sales. So obviously that the bag that Sony dropped to get those exclusive on their platform wasn't enough to make up for the lost sales from not releasing Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 16 day and date on the other platforms. But this one here, I've never played Dragon Quest III. I do enjoy the series, So I will be interested in seeing what this game is all about when they finally showed off how they kind of improved it from the original. I've seen videos and stuff of the original played, but never actually played it. So kind of excited to get some official gameplay and another announcement for the game itself. And if you know anything about it, the series has sold 82 million units worldwide since the title released in 1986. So a major franchise here for Square Enix. Okay, let's talk achievements, because we know Xbox achievements have pretty much been the same for a very, very long time. They added in the diamond achievement. Those were added later after just the regular achievement system. But people have been kind of wanting an upgrade here, more differentiation between collecting the different achievements, the harder achievements, the achievements later in game, the ones that are just more difficult to collect. And now we have something here. This may mean nothing. It may literally just be for Hellblade 2. But we have Patrick Mackey here on X tweeting out here, found it interesting to see that Hellblade 2 achievements colors coded as bronze, silver, and gold. So they specifically go and have different colors depending on the actual gamer score you get with it. You can see here you have 25 gamer score, it's bronze, and you have 100, it is silver. And then gold was the 150 gamer score achievement. So obviously the hardest one to get, or the one that would take the most time to get, unlocked there for Hellblade 2, which this is a first party game. And maybe this is Xbox kind of testing out and hinting at that we will be getting an announcement for some changes to the achievement system at this showcase. I feel like they should do something. I mean, I don't want them to stray too far away from it. I don't have really any issues with the achievement system. I've said this previously. I don't want them to just go and follow PlayStation and do like a platinum trophy thing that they have there. But if they were to add just a couple of more things where you get a tiny bit more incentive for actually going out there and completing every single achievement in a game, getting the last one, that would be kind of cool. Come up with something unique. Don't make it the exact same as what PlayStation does with the platinums, but maybe just something that differentiates it and gives people, again, that excitement, that motivation to want to go out there and 100% all of these games. I know for myself, I like getting achievements, but I generally don't 100% every game. I put hours and hours into games, but I'm just kind of doing my own thing, and then I don't actually achieve some of the stuff at the end of it. So it maybe a new feature like that will force me to want to do that. Okay, when it comes to PC handhelds, we know that we've had the Asus ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, the Lenovo Legion Go, the MSI Claw, and there's some other ones as well from like Neo and One X Player. But the Lenovo Legion Go and I say the Asus ROG Ally are two main ones that a lot of Xbox players specifically go to for Game Pass and making kind of their portable Xbox handheld. And obviously you can play your Steam games and everything like that. I've had the Steam Deck and I've had the Asus ROG Ally. I do like the ROG Ally better than the Steam Deck because of how I use it, which is mainly for Xbox Game Pass. But I've always been interested in the Legion Go because it has the detachable controllers, it's a bigger screen and stuff. But it looks like they may be coming out here with a smaller version, a new iteration here on the Lenovo Legion Go for people who don't want that bigger form factor. If you do take that and you compare it to the ROG Ally, it is definitely a bigger device. This comes here from Windows Central saying we're getting a Lenovo Legion Go Lite. Lenovo is potentially working on a more affordable PC gaming handheld. And right now, the Legion Go is an 8.8 inch screen, so it is large. Uses Z1 Extreme chipset from AMD, and it can run obviously your modern AAA PC games and console games and things like that. And they say here for the Lite, what they are going to be going for, it will support the same Z1 range from AMD, but will support some refinements over its predecessor. It says we're not entirely sure exactly what those refinements will be, but the Lite moniker could give us some hints. Perhaps it will have a slightly smaller display. Maybe it'll ditch the detachable joysticks like the similarly named Nintendo Switch Lite. Lite also hints at more affordable price point, perhaps shying away from the Lenovo Legion Go starting $630 price range for something more palatable. Asus has the cheaper version of its Ally that uses the regular Z1 chipset from AMD rather than the Z1 Extreme. So it's entirely possible this Lite version could also drop the E as well to impart some savings on customers. So again, we don't know what it's like, but I mean, you can kind of take a look at what's out there. The ROG Ally is definitely smaller than it and is far more compact. And maybe they'll try to shrink it down to something more like that, maybe even somewhat smaller. I would assume they're going to take away the detachable Joy-Cons. I know they're not Joy-Cons, but I don't really know what else to call them. The detachable controllers for the Lenovo Legion Go, and reduce the screen size, and they could still put it in a Z1 Extreme and maybe just reduce the price of it by like $100 or something, or just give the regular Z1 and reduce it by even more. Who knows? But there's definitely something there that they can iterate on here, and it will appeal to more people by having it in a smaller form factor. For me, what the thing with these handhelds is like, they're portable, but the battery lives are just so poor on them that they're not really that portable. You always have to have your charger with you, and generally you have to have it plugged in, especially if you want to get some decent performance out of it. So I've always kind of been interested in the bigger versions with the Lenovo Legion Go, and at some point maybe I will trade in my ROG Ally and try out the 8.8-inch screen for the Lenovo Legion Go. All right, now when it comes to Sega and Yakuza, this is a pretty interesting piece of news I saw yesterday. I just want to talk about it, and it has to do with the Yakuza games. Sega apparently just rejected these games from the first two pitches of Yakuza from creator Nagoshi. So this is an interview with the Weekly Ochiaye. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but that's what the publication of this interview was with. It says former Sega chief creative officer Toshihiro Nagoshi explained that at the time he was thinking of pitching the first Yakuza game in the early 2000s, as Sega was struggling to release games that were selling well globally. Says this led to a mindset of making games that would appeal to the masses, games that could sell anywhere and to anyone. But this mindset wasn't really leading to a solution, and I saw many game proposals gradually become watered down as producers bent over to change things the way management instructed them to. And he says here, of course, it was flat out rejected. After all, it was completely contrary to what I mentioned earlier about attracting the masses. Children wouldn't be able to play it, and it wasn't catered to women nor overseas audiences. In this sense, there was no way for it to be approved without resistance. That's, again, talking about the original pitches here for Yakuza. Obviously, it's a great thing that they didn't end up rejecting them. They did create these games because not only were they successful in Japan, they were successful all around the world when they made their way over. And I think now, at this point, the range of people that actually played the Yakuza games or who are at least interested in them has grown vastly. I mean, the game has done a lot here. I mean, it was on Game Pass. It's been in subscription services, so more people are discovering it than they have ever before. And they've made so many iterations of it, so many sequels to the first one. Obviously, they're very happy with the success of the Yakuza series. But that was just an interesting piece that I want to talk about. And jumping over here, let's talk about FSR3, because FSR3 is something that I want to see more in games coming to the Xbox console. We saw FSR 3.1 with Immortals of Aveum and the frame generation stuff, and it's done wonders for that game. And now we have a bit more testing here. This is from Digital Foundry. It says FSR 3 provides 72% frame rate boost in the first Xbox Series X test. They say, similar to NVIDIA DLSS 3 frame gen, AMD's take works on buffering up an extra frame on top of the one last rendered, then inserts an interpolated frame between them. Immortals of Aveum demonstrates that FSR 3 frame generation has value in challenging like-for-like content. I noted that the Xbox Series X's frame rate rose from 46.68 FPS average to 80.43 FPS, a 72.3% boost. More generally, frame generation turns a game running inconsistently at between 40 and 60 FPS into an HFR experience, and with VRR active, it is compelling. So that's pretty big. I mean, one of the biggest complaints that people have had this generation is that there is those dips in frame rates. Now, we've gotten lots of great, smooth running games. I know people like to focus on the negatives and think that every game's in 30 FPS because a few games have been released in 30 FPS. So that just simply is not the case. The majority of games that we have gotten have had a performance mode. And now as we're getting through 4 years into this generation, going into the last couple of years, and games are starting to use Unreal Engine 5 and just look significantly better. I mean, we just saw Hellblade 2, and I think we're going to get more games looking along those lines as we get to the end of this generation. It's going to be more taxing on these consoles. So these tools, like things like FSR 3, are extremely important to be used. And if it can give a 72.3% boost to the performance, I think we will now finally start seeing developers utilize these tools. And the question and the discussion from the beginning of this generation is the Xbox Series S the thing holding back these games. And what we are seeing right now from the statistics that just came out from Call of Duty, it's probably the PlayStation 4 that is actually holding back the anchor on the generation, with 48% of Call of Duty players still on the PS4. They haven't upgraded to the PlayStation 5, and that being the most popular and best-selling game every single year, that is going to be an anchor down for having to keep games cross-generation and having to keep those users in mind. When you have that many people still on a platform, developers are not going to want to skip the PS4. They aren't going to want to skip games that could potentially be reduced down to be played on that platform. So I hope this gets utilized going forward for more taxing games, and we do see some better performance with the frames. And then they also go on here and say there are a few caveats, such as lesser fidelity of interpolated frames and certain quirks with how the HUD is displayed and some occasional freezing issues during cutscenes. But Immortals of Aveum is also using this technology to target Xbox players with 120 hertz and VRR supported display. So it won't suit everyone. So that's another thing here. If you have a VRR 120 hertz display, it'll be the best for you. But overall, they sum it up with this. They say, while the interpolated frames are not perfect, sometimes dramatically so, they stroke between two standard rendered frames. It's the frame rates high enough, it's hard to detect those visual discrepancies. So, I mean, that's a positive. And they say, we will see 30 FPS games frame gen into 60 FPS games. I don't think that's the best application of the technology, but it might work on much slower paced titles. Immortals of Aveum represents how it will work best, taking a game already targeting 60 FPS and amplifying the frame rate into HFR territory. So will we see the 30 FPS get that 60 boost? Probably not, but like they say, slower games. I mean, Hellblade 2 is a slow game. Maybe that'll be one where they try to put in a tool like that to get it up to the 60 frames per second with the just insane fidelity of that game. So interesting stuff there. And again, I just hope that we start seeing these tools utilized on the console versions of these games that are coming out. Okay, let's jump over here. Just a couple more things I do want to talk about. Silent Hill is putting out their invitation for their Silent Hill transmission. It's going to be May 30th at 4 p.m. Pacific. They say, tune in May 30th at 4 p.m. Pacific to our Silent Hill YouTube channel for the second installment of the Silent Hill transmission, where we'll share game updates and a deeper look at the film and new tech. We know that there are multiple Silent Hill games in the works, so we'll probably end up seeing those and hopefully get some more announcements for it. So that's May 30th. Make sure to check out that if you are interested. And we have some more leaks here. I guess some more information for Resident Evil. Now, Resident Evil, they've done a great job with remakes. They are working on Resident Evil 9. We've heard more about the open world of Resident Evil 9, specifically from this leaker here, Dusk Golem. And he has more information here. A relatively larger thread of just information about what is going on here with Resident Evil and what other games are in development. So he says, F it, I'm choosing to be the one to burst the bubble in a bigger way of what's going on with Resident Evil stuff. First, I would wipe the expectations of RE9 being announced this summer, period. So Summer Games Fest, I guess don't expect RE9 announcement. Unfortunate. I was actually hoping that would happen, especially because from what he has said previously about them expanding out the scope of the game, I'm actually extremely excited for it. So as the initial murmurs I heard, I now do believe are right, and RE9's announcement is further away than this upcoming summer. Sorry for the back and forth on that. That's my fault. Fortunate again, as I said, I was hoping for that one. They say RE1 remake rumors are bullshit. As far as I know, RE1 is not in any form of development at all right now. That's one we did hear about last week or the week before. There was a rumor going around that they were remaking Resident Evil 1. I thought that would be great because we've gotten 2, we've gotten 3, we've gotten 4. Let's get the original one out there and see how they can turn that into a modern game. They've done wonders with the other ones. I would love to see RE1, but that apparently is not happening. RE5 is not actively in dev now either. It's been funny seeing this, so no RE5 remake. He says here that RE9 is pushed back to late 2025-26. If everything I've heard is correct, which I fully believe it is, and I know others have hinted this, and I'm not the first to say this publicly, actually, just it's not caught on. There's actually a remake of Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica in development right now. I've talked to many others behind the scenes about this at this point. It's something I've heard over a year ago. I think it was going to get out whether I was the one to say it or not, and that's about it. So no RE1 remake, no RE5 remake right now, no RE9 announcement, but lucky for those, if you are a fan of Resident Evil 0 or Code Veronica, it looks like those two are actually in development now as remakes instead. Will we see any of this at the Summer Games Fest? I do hope so we can get more clarity on all of these Resident Evil rumors that have been going around. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.